My beloved brothers and sisters, how many times have you ruined your own peace just to prove a point? How many times did you reply and immediately regret it? How many times did your ego speak and your heart suffer? Pause for a moment, because today we are talking about a power that is rare in our time. Be silent, think deep, win quietly. Allah sees what people ignore. We are living in an age of noise. Everyone is posting, everyone is reacting, everyone wants to be heard, but very few want to understand, very few want to reflect, and even fewer want to control themselves. My beloved brothers and sisters, silence is not weakness. Silence is strength under control. When someone insults you and you refuse to respond, that is power. When someone tries to provoke you and you walk away, that is maturity. When people misunderstand you and you trust Allah instead of defending yourself endlessly, that is tawakkul. Not every comment deserves your energy. Not every battle deserves your attendance. Sometimes the greatest victory is the argument you never had. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. Look at the wisdom in that. Either add value or protect your peace. There is no third option. But silence alone is not enough, because some people are silent, yet their minds are full of anger. We are not speaking about silent resentment. We are speaking about thoughtful reflection. Think deep. Before you react, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Will this matter in the grave? Will this matter on the day I stand before Allah? Most of what disturbs us today will not matter tomorrow. Yet we sacrifice relationships, dignity, and even our akhirah for temporary emotions. Deep thinking protects you from shallow reactions. And then, win quietly. This world has made us addicted to being seen. If we give charity, we want acknowledgement. If we achieve something, we want applause. If we improve, we want people to notice. But the most powerful growth happens in private. The dua no one hears, the tears no one sees, the sin you resist when no one is watching. People may ignore your struggle, Allah does not. People may overlook your effort, Allah records it. People may not understand your silence, Allah knows your intention. And when Allah elevates someone, no human being can lower them. My beloved brothers and sisters, you do not need to prove yourself to everyone. You only need to answer to one. Let people underestimate you. Let them assume you are weak. Let them think you are doing nothing. While they are watching noise, you are building substance. While they are arguing publicly, you are growing privately. While they are chasing attention, you are chasing Jannah. That is the quiet victory. Control your tongue. Discipline your emotions. Strengthen your connection with Allah. Be silent when silence protects your dignity. Think deep when emotions try to control you. Win quietly, because the only recognition that truly matters is from Allah. And remember this, when you feel unseen, unappreciated, ignored, Allah sees what people ignore. He sees the patience, He sees the effort, He sees the sincerity. And His reward is greater than any applause this world could ever give. Silence is strength, not weakness. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every argument deserves your energy. True strength is controlling your tongue when your ego wants to speak. Silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of strength. We live in a world that teaches us the opposite. It tells us that if someone speaks against you, you must reply. If someone insults you, you must defend yourself. If someone challenges you, you must prove them wrong. And if you stay quiet, people will think you are weak. But let me tell you something powerful. Not every response is strength, and not every silence is weakness. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one who says nothing. Think about it. When someone provokes you, what happens inside your heart? Your ego rises. Your emotions begin to burn. Your tongue becomes ready to fire words that cannot be taken back. In that moment, you feel powerful if you respond. You feel victorious if you win the argument. But is that real victory, or is that your nafs demanding attention? Real strength is not in overpowering someone with your words. Real strength is overpowering your own ego. There is a huge difference. Anyone can shout. Anyone can insult. Anyone can react. But very few can control themselves when they are angry. Very few can remain calm when they are misunderstood. Very few can swallow their pride for the sake of something greater. And that is where true strength lies. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us this strength again and again. He was mocked, insulted, rejected, and harmed. Yet he did not respond to every attack. He did not chase every critic. He did not argue with every opponent. His dignity was too valuable to be thrown into every battle. He understood something we often forget. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. Some people argue not because they want truth, but because they want reaction. When you react, you feed the fire. When you stay silent, a fire dies on its own. Silence protects your dignity. How many times have we spoken in anger and then wished we could take our words back? Words can destroy years of friendship in seconds. They can break hearts, damage families, and create wounds that take years to heal. And all of it often begins with one uncontrolled moment. But when you choose silence, you protect yourself from regret. Silence gives you time to think. It gives you space to breathe. It allows your emotions to settle before they control you. It is not suppression, it is discipline. It is not fear, it is wisdom. There are moments when speaking is necessary. Islam does not teach us to be silent in the face of injustice or to hide the truth. But there is a difference between standing for truth and defending your ego. Many of our reactions are not about justice, they are about pride. Ask yourself honestly, when I respond harshly, am I defending truth or am I defending my image? When someone criticizes you unfairly and you remain calm, that calmness is strength. When someone underestimates you and you continue improving yourself quietly instead of arguing, that is strength. When someone tries to provoke you and you walk away, that is strength. Because you are proving that your emotions do not control you. And the one who controls his tongue controls much of his life. Your tongue is small, but it has enormous power. It can earn you Jannah or lead you toward destruction. It can create peace or ignite chaos. That is why mastering it is one of the greatest forms of self-discipline. Silence also builds mystery and respect. People may think you are weak at first. They may assume you have no answer. But over time, they will realize that your silence was not emptiness. It was composure. It was control. It was confidence. The one who constantly needs to defend themselves often appears insecure. The one who remains composed appears confident. Why? Because they know their worth is not defined by every opinion thrown at them. When you are secure in who you are before Allah, you do not need to respond to every voice around you. My beloved brothers and sisters, strength is not loud. Strength is steady. Strength is controlled. Strength is choosing patience when anger feels easier. Strength is choosing dignity when ego demands revenge. The next time you are provoked, pause. Feel the urge to respond and then restrain it. That restraint is not weakness. It is a victory over yourself. And the greatest victory you will ever achieve is not defeating someone else. It is defeating your own ego. Deep thinking prevents regret before reacting. Reflect. Ask yourself, will this matter in my akhirah? Thinking deeply protects you from emotional, impulsive decisions. One of the greatest reasons we regret our actions is because we act before we think. We speak before we reflect. We react before we understand. And then later, when the emotions settle and reality becomes clear, we sit with regret in our hearts and wish we had paused for just a few seconds. Deep thinking is a protection. It is a shield between you and regret. We live in a time where everything is instant. Instant messages, instant reactions, instant opinions. Someone posts something, we respond immediately. Someone says something, we reply without hesitation. We have trained ourselves to react quickly, but we have forgotten how to reflect deeply, and that is dangerous. Because shallow reactions often lead to deep consequences. When you think deeply, you give yourself time to process. You step back from the emotion and look at the situation with clarity. You ask yourself questions that your ego does not want to answer. Is this worth my peace? Is this worth damaging a relationship? Is this worth standing before Allah with regret? Deep thinkers are not easily shaken. They do not allow every comment to disturb their sleep. They do not allow every opinion to control their mood. Why? Because they understand something powerful. Most things that upset us today will not matter tomorrow, but the way we respond to them will matter in our akhirah. Before you speak, imagine your words being written down, because they are. Before you react, imagine explaining that reaction on the day of judgment. Suddenly the urge to reply weakens. Suddenly silence feels wiser. Deep thinking forces you to look beyond the moment. Sometimes someone insults you. Your immediate reaction is to defend yourself. But a deep thinker asks, what will I gain from this? If I win the argument but lose my character, is that really winning? If I prove a point but damage my dignity, is that success? Many times the problem is not what was said to us. The problem is how quickly we allowed it to enter our heart. When you think deeply, you separate your emotions from reality. You realize that not every criticism is an attack. Not every disagreement is disrespect. Not every misunderstanding is intentional. And sometimes you even realize that you were wrong. Deep thinking requires humility. It requires the courage to admit that maybe, just maybe, I need to improve. Instead of immediately defending yourself, you reflect. Instead of shifting blame, you evaluate yourself. And that is growth. People who refuse to think deeply remain stuck. They repeat the same mistakes. They damage the same relationships. They experience the same conflicts again and again. Why? Because they react the same way every time. But when you start reflecting, patterns become visible. You begin to notice your triggers. You recognize your weaknesses. You understand where your ego takes control. And once you see it clearly, you can change it. Deep thinking also strengthens your trust in Allah. When something painful happens, shallow thinking says, why me? Deep thinking says, what is Allah teaching me? When a door closes, shallow thinking says, this is unfair. Deep thinking says, perhaps this is protection. When someone leaves your life, shallow thinking says, I lost. Deep thinking says, maybe Allah removed what was harmful. Reflection transforms pain into lessons. It turns confusion into clarity. It changes emotional reactions into purposeful responses. My beloved brothers and sisters, your mind is a gift. Use it. Slow down. Pause before replying to that message. Take a breath before responding in anger. Sleep over major decisions. Make dua before speaking. Give yourself space to think beyond the heat of the moment. One moment of deep reflection can save you years of regret. One thoughtful pause can prevent a broken relationship. One controlled response can protect your dignity. Thinking deeply does not mean overthinking everything. It means giving importance to what truly matters. It means measuring your words. It means asking yourself whether this action brings you closer to Allah or further away. Because at the end of the day, what truly matters is not how fast you reacted. What matters is how wisely you responded. And wisdom is born in reflection. Quiet wins are the greatest wins, hidden deeds, silent patience, unseen struggles. Allah sees them all. You don't need public applause when you have divine recognition. The real victory is earning Allah's pleasure, not people's approval. There is something incredibly powerful about winning quietly. We live in a world that celebrates noise. Success must be announced. Achievements must be posted. Growth must be displayed. If people do not see it, it almost feels like it did not happen. We have become so accustomed to public validation that we forget the beauty of private progress. But the believer understands something deeper. The greatest victories are often the quietest ones. When you wake up for tahajjud and no one knows, that is a victory. When you resist a temptation in private and no one sees, that is a victory. When you give charity secretly and no one can trace it back to you, that is a victory. These are not victories that trend online. They do not attract applause. They do not bring followers, but they bring something far greater, the pleasure of Allah. Winning quietly means your intention is pure. It means you are not performing for people. It means you are not dependent on praise to stay motivated. You are doing what you do because it is right, because it is sincere, because Allah sees. And when Allah sees, that is enough. Sometimes we exhaust ourselves trying to prove our worth. We want people to recognize our effort. We want acknowledgement for our struggles. We want appreciation for our sacrifices. And when we do not receive it, we feel hurt. We feel overlooked. We feel invisible. But pause and reflect. Since when was your value dependent on people's recognition? If you clean, work, study, help your family, remain patient and improve yourself, and no one thanks you, does that reduce your reward with Allah? Not at all. In fact, sometimes the reward increases because the sincerity increases. When no one is watching, your intention becomes clearer. You are not acting for praise, you are acting for your Creator. Winning quietly also protects your heart from arrogance. When success is loud, ego can easily enter. When you constantly announce your achievements, pride can grow silently inside you. You begin to measure your worth by how many people admire you. But when you grow in private, your heart remains grounded. You understand that every success came from Allah. You recognize that without Him, you would have nothing. Your humility deepens because your victories are between you and your Lord. There is also peace in moving quietly. When you do not share every plan, you protect it. When you do not expose every blessing, you shield it from jealousy. When you build in silence, you avoid unnecessary opinions. Not everyone needs access to your journey. Sometimes the more you speak about your goals, the less you accomplish them. Because talking about them gives you temporary satisfaction. But working on them in silence builds real results. Let people underestimate you. Let them assume you are not progressing. Let them think you are ordinary. While they are watching others, you are developing yourself. While they are distracted by noise, you are focused on growth. While they are competing for attention, you are competing for Jannah. That is a different level of winning. Winning quietly does not mean hiding your light completely. It means being intentional about who you seek validation from. It means remembering that the ultimate recognition is not from people, it is from Allah. On the day of judgment, there will be people whose deeds shocked even the angels. Quiet acts of patience, silent sacrifices, hidden generosity, private tears, all recorded, all rewarded. Imagine standing before Allah and seeing mountains of reward for things no human ever appreciated. That is the beauty of quiet victories. When you forgive someone without announcing it, you win. When you control your anger, instead of proving your point, you win. When you choose patience over revenge, you win. When you stay consistent in worship without posting it, you win. The world may not clap, but the angels record, and the reward of Allah is far greater than the applause of people. So my beloved brothers and sisters, stop measuring your success by how visible it is. Measure it by how sincere it is. Stop chasing recognition from creation. Seek acceptance from the Creator. Build in silence, grow in silence, worship in silence, and let Allah be the one who announces your success in this world and the next. Because when He elevates you, no one can bring you down. That is the true quiet victory. May Allah grant us wisdom in our silence, depth in our thinking, and sincerity in our victories. Ameen.